The Chad Prather Show is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Surf the web with peace of mind. Sign up now at expressvpn.com/watchchad. Hey, it is party time, Mom. Welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show here from your favorite studio, Studio 22. We are going to have some fun on this Monday evening, fun and informative, I might add. But, I mean, that's what we do every night of the week, right? Of course. You're supposed to answer in the affirmative. I want to encourage everybody, if you're a fan of the show, if you're a first-time listener, if you have just stumbled upon us by accident, or if you are somewhere in a concentration camp and they're forcing you to listen to us as a means of torture, when you get free, go over to where podcasts are offered, specifically Apple Podcasts, and leave us a 5-star rating and a good review. We deserve it. We want it. We need it. It helps keep us in the rankings in the news category of podcasts. And it's, well, we have a lot of vanity and narcissism here. You know us. But anyway, I want you to do that. It's hugely appreciated. And if you haven't already, go and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Chad Prather, you'll find it. It's easy. I'm everywhere. Folks, we got a jam-packed show for you today. I'm excited to welcome a couple of guests on tonight's episode. We're going to be talking to the co-host of Fox and Friends, New York Times best-selling author, and good friend of the show, Brian Kilmeade, about his new book, Sam Houston and the Alamo Avengers. Comes out tomorrow in paperback version, and it's got some extras in there you don't want to miss, especially if you're a Texan. This is Texas history from a real, true storytelling narrative perspective that you do not want to miss out on. We're going to talk to him a little bit about how the folks at Fox News are handling the pandemic, what's life like in New York City, the idea of new normal for life after COVID. But first, we're going to talk about the true implications of COVID-19 because, yes, we realize that thousands of people have died across the nation. And we've talked about that in many, many episodes. We've talked about the physical aspects of it and the numbers behind it. We've had medical doctors in here to discuss it. But I want to talk to you today, and we've got a guest who's going to talk to you about the spiritual, the mental impact of this huge change in our society. Self-isolation, depression, increase in substance and spousal abuse. We're going to be talking to my friend Brad Hunstable today to discuss the loss of his 12-year-old son as a result of the social isolation mandated by the onslaught of this coronavirus. And we're going to share his story on how we can help each other through the unseen pandemic of mental health. So it's going to be eye-opening, and it could be, I say this with all honesty, life-changing episode here on the Chad Prather Show. In addition to their generous support of Mercury One, Patriot Mobile has gone above and beyond to help Americans stay in touch and with loved ones during this difficult time by lowering their prices even further. If you sign up for Patriot Mobile, you want to. I'm telling you, don't let the day go by. Right now, their U.S.-based team is standing by to design your customized family plan for as low as $25 a month. Patriot Mobile shares your values. They're never going to charge you hidden fees, and unlike the big mobile companies that are out there that we won't name that you've been using for a long time, they're not going to give some of your hard-earned money from your bill away to places like Planned Parenthood or gun grabbers or any of the leftist causes that are out there. They're patriots, folks, hence the name. So get the same reliable nationwide service and support a company that shares your values, supports your Constitution, puts people before profits. Switching is easy. You can keep your plan. You keep your phone number. You keep your phone. You can buy a new one if you want, but hey, right now they're going to make it easy for you when your family joins this freedom-loving group of Americans. They're going to waive your activation plus send you a free gift with offer code CHAD. So call 972-PATRIOT or go to patriotmobile.com/Chad to get your customized family plan today, starting at just $25. 972-PATRIOT or patriotmobile.com/Chad. We'll be right back. Hey, folks, welcome back. We've talked about this whole coronavirus and COVID thing from every single angle. We've poked fun at the situations. We've laughed at it culturally. We've been serious about it. We know that it's a real thing. We've had doctors on the show. There's so many different angles, and at this point, it's been around long enough that it's affected everybody in some way, shape, or form. Either you're being inconvenienced by having to wear a mask, or you're having to stay home because of an underlying condition, or various things are happening in regards to people you might know, people who have it, people who know people who have it. It's a crazy thing that we did not expect to ever be a part of. And this is something that's going to go down in history as a once in a lifetime, if not once in a century type of event. Who knows? Nobody really knows, but we do know that it's affecting people, and some more than others. And today I want to welcome onto the show a guy that maybe you've seen on social media. You've heard his story. If you haven't, then you're in for something really, really eye-opening, heart-wrenching, and this is one of those angles about coronavirus that I don't hear anybody really, truly talking about it. And Brad Hunstable is joining us via video here. Brad, thanks for coming on the show, man. You guys, first of all, where are you today?
Hey, Chad, thanks for having me. I'm at my parents' house in Granbury, Texas. We're from Aledo originally, but I'm just I guess just to the south of Aledo in Granbury.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, Aledo is just west of Fort Worth, Texas. A lot of folks think that's Dallas. It's not. I just like your background there, making PETA mad with the animals and the fish and all that stuff. It's my kind of place.
Yeah.
Brad, you guys have kind of been through the ringer here lately. Not kind of, you certainly have, in what I would consider to be a parent's worst nightmare. And you did a video that said, "My son died because of coronavirus, but not because of what you think." How did you summarize that? What happened?
Yeah, I put the video out, and I knew the title would be a little bit controversial, but I believe it.
Mm-hmm.
When we started the lockdowns, months ago, we sort of went to this de facto martial law, and what we've learned is that the impact of that is not just the actual virus, which is horrendous and people are dying, but there's a much broader impact. You could call it collateral damage, or whatever you want to call it, to all sorts of situations. And I suffered an absolute tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
My son, who was 12 years old, took his own life, and it was a combination. And I said this because of coronavirus or COVID, because I attribute part of it. There's a whole host of reasons, but I attribute part of it to the social isolation, which just is not normal, not part of the human condition. And we can talk about the reasons. There's a lot of reasons, but I know that my son had been in school, he'd be alive today. That I can guarantee you.
And how old was your son?
He was 12 years old. It was 3 days before his 13th birthday.
Yeah.
And took his life. And what the trigger was, he broke his monitor on his computer again. I've been playing Fortnite a lot. And the second time he broke it in a couple months. Like I used to do. I don't know if you used to play, Super Mario or Zelda or Mike Tyson's Punch Out or anything, but those little controllers that we chunk them. And somehow he did that, got mad, and broke his monitor, and just not understanding the finality, not understanding the permanence, and we don't know all the details. It might have been somewhat of an accident. We don't know for sure, but they did something that he got himself in a situation he couldn't get out of, and had to bury him just after his birthday.
Wow. Well, obviously, we are certainly sorry to hear that. That's a tragedy, and as a parent, I can't imagine a worse nightmare in that situation. And I don't think that people truly understand the implications that this has on so many people, and it affects people so differently. What I have said in recent days is we can look at the physical aspects of something like a coronavirus and say, okay, people are getting this virus and they're getting sick, and it's affecting their, it creates an inflammation that physically does this to their lungs or that to another part of their respiratory system. But what we haven't done is taken a look at the spiritual implications and impact. We haven't looked at the mental impact. Your video, your circumstance really opened my eyes to see that, because we're seeing people who now we're seeing an increase in domestic violence, in suicide, in abuse. We're seeing it in things as simple, although they're very complex when you get down to it, in obesity, in alcoholism. People who have been sober are now going back because they don't know what to do with themselves. There's frustration, plus they're losing businesses, they're losing relationships, opportunities are going away. There are certain jobs that are out there that will never come back. This isn't something that's going to be fixed in months. This is something in years. And you talk about something where here you have your young son, 12 years old, 13 years old, in just a matter of days, and he's trying to cope with a situation that obviously he doesn't understand. I'm 47 years old, and Brad, I don't understand it, right? And so you look at these things and you try to say, what can we do? After going through what you've been through, have you gotten to a point yet where you can put that into or processed it where you can look at it and say to other people, this is what you need to be aware of, or signs you need to look for, or this is what you need to do?
Yeah, no, man, I'm 2 weeks into this thing.
Yeah.
2 or 3 weeks in it, so it's still fresh, and I'm not an expert by any means. Obviously, we made some mistakes, or we wouldn't be sitting here talking. But what I have learned, and what I believe, is that mental health already was a pandemic, and this isolation, the virus has created a tsunami. Chad, I'm not kidding you. I'm getting hundreds, if not thousands, of messages. And it's not just me. I mean, tons of messages, people saying they're sorry. Don't get me wrong about that. But I'm talking about the messages from the 16-year-old boy who's thinking about taking his life.
Yeah.
About messages from someone I went to high school with who sat their daughter down and found out that she was a cutter and depressed because of my video. I'm talking about the people who have lost their 12-year-old, 13-year-old to suicide in the last month. I mean, my mind is being blown. If you look at the CDC number 2017, which has been the latest I've been able to find, the second leading cause of death from 10 to 14 is suicide. Yeah. In that year. And 15 to 24, it's suicide. And 25 to 34, it's suicide. And so we have a real challenge. And so what are the solutions to your larger question? I don't know that I have all the answers, but I do know this: technology is advancing faster than our brains can keep up with. You know, I'm in the tech world. I started a company called Ustream back in the day, so right. I was loosely involved in this movement. It's just I can't even keep up with what's happening on TikTok and all this sort of stuff. And parents, I think there's a lot of don't understand what's the ramifications of letting your kid get on Fortnite for hours at a time, letting your kid be on TikTok. And look, what the other problem was that during the isolation, that was the only way they could communicate with their friends. Yeah. I mean, FaceTime, TikTok, I mean, Fortnite, this is how these kids interact, but we don't know the long-term ramifications on social and emotional development. And so I think the first step is just to have conversations. That's what I've been telling them. The conversations matter. Just sit down and talk. Some people have showed their kids my video, which is very, very blunt and very emotional and very gut-wrenching. And so that may be good for your family, but yeah. But if not, just talking is sort of step one, because that sort of leads to the path of understanding, listening, and then from there you can go get help, professional help, or go get tools to help solve some of these issues.
Hang right there, Brad. I want to come back. We're going to take a quick break. We're sitting down, hanging out with Brad Hunstable. Incredible viral video that's out there talking about his son who died from coronavirus, but the virus isn't what killed him. And I got a couple of important points, some questions I want to ask you, but some more things, because you never know, a situation like this, how many lives you could be saving, Brad, through this message. Thank you for the vulnerability and the boldness to do this. We're going to come back in a second. But, hey, while you're spending it at home, folks, don't just think about your future. Do something about it. It's a great opportunity to get a degree from Ashford University. It can help you have a brighter future. Ashford University's online bachelor's and master's degree program allow you to learn on a convenient and flexible schedule. At Ashford, expert faculty teaches real-world skills and real-world experience from the comfort of your own home. You can use online classes to build for life's twists and turns. You can pursue a degree to help you with a brighter future in one of Ashford's 60-plus degree programs like business administration, healthcare administration, and psychology. 24/7 access to your classroom, daily support, financial aid available. Ashford gives you the tools you need to keep climbing. You are made for moments like these because you're hashtag tenacity made, just like Ashford. Education's personal at Ashford University. Your success is their success. There's no fee to apply or standardized testing required. So go today. Go to ashford.edu/watchchad. That's ashford.edu/watchchad, and we will be right back. Welcome back. 5 years ago, I sat in a rental car, actually, in Lexington, Kentucky, and I made a video that talked about my own battles with things like depression and what I did personally to try to help myself because, let's face it, there was a point in time in my life where I felt like everything was futile. Because of that, I've gotten a lot of messages over the years from people who are struggling with the concept of suicide. Some people who have attempted suicide. A lot of those stories I've told have been widely known. So you never know by telling your story what is going to help save a life. And so I'm thankful that Brad Hunstable is willing to be so vulnerable and bold to talk about this. This is a fresh wound, and our heart certainly goes out to him and his family in the loss of their son. And Brad, you said, we ended on that last segment talking about one of the things is communication. I could not agree more with you on that. But you don't feel like your son was necessarily going through a type of depression, right? It was just this isolation that you felt like he didn't quite know how to cope with this, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's would be fair. I mean, what's scary about what happened with my son? I mean, obviously, if someone is having deep depression and they're clearly someone that needs mental health, that seems like to me an easier diagnosis. What was scary about my son, I think, not uncommon across kids of his age, is there wasn't a lot of signs.
Mm-hmm.
This is a kid who played sports. This is a kid who was well known and well liked in his school. All of his friends, parents went through all their phones. There was zero indication. All they talked about on their phones with my son was Fortnite and girls.
Yeah.
It sounds like a 12-year-old, 13-year-old boy.
Right.
There wasn't signs. I mean, he was a little bit impulsive and aggressive, kind of like me, but I was too. And so the scary part about this is that there is such a thing as I've learned as impulsive suicide. Combine that with a gaming culture of, and I'm not against gaming. I'm not sitting here. I'm not trying to say that gaming is bad, but there is something that's different about how we're developing our kids. That's a challenge. And look, we went to church. We weren't going to church because of the virus.
Yeah.
He wasn't playing sports and running it out like he should have been because of the virus. We couldn't go to the XFL football games or season tickets that we had to meet him. We're going to for the first two games because of the virus. And so the outlets became limited. Combine that with, and this is my own mistake, I've got a manufacturing company that does electric motors, and we had switched a big part of that to PPP manufacturing. So I was working almost 24/7 trying to save lives there. And so it was just a bad deal. And I'm not even sure he totally wanted to do it. In fact, I would be one to bet you if I had 3 minutes later he'd cooled off, he wouldn't want to do it. It was done pretty amateurish. And what worries me is the amount of people who across the country this is not abnormal. This is what every kid of that age group is kind of doing and kind of acting like. And if it can happen to me, man, it can happen to anybody. And that's what I'm trying. I want to go out and solve. And we formed if it's all right, Chad, if I can share the website.
Yeah, 100%.
We formed a website called haydenscorner.org, which actually, believe it or not, Evander Holyfield is the one who came up with it. Who is a business partner of mine in another company. And he told me he said the 4-time heavyweight champion of the world is in Haydens Corner.
Yeah,
And suddenly
I like that.
Charity. Yeah, so we want to solve social and emotional development for kids, K through 12. How can we give them better tools, but also how can we do gaming responsibly, in a way that doesn't have a culture of anger? I mean, I've got some ideas for Hayden's Law. I've been trying to get these lawmakers. Here's what blows my mind. I've got 40 million views, and I can't get one lawmaker to call me back.
Yeah.
And I'm a guy who's semi well known in Fort Worth, and I know I've done big stuff across the country. I mean, there's some smart things that we can do as a country. I'm not for government regulation. I'm a libertarian as they get in many respects. But man, there's some smart things that I think that society's got to do to properly make sure this next generation is given the tools that we got, because from a host of avenues that they're not getting under the current society.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you from the perspective of the Chad Prather Show, we can 100% tell you that we're in Haydens Corner, and maybe we can help change that in terms of politicians and folks who have some pull getting a response there. I'll be sending some text messages today, as a matter of fact, to some folks of influence, because again, this is as raw as it gets. This is not opportunistic. This is not something where you had a good idea one day and said, let's start this foundation. This is real. This is 2 weeks of a pure nightmarish hell that no parent ever wants to deal with. And so I think this is an important thing, and I want to encourage people to get involved in whatever ways they can. If anybody could spend a day, and I'm with you, Brad, if anybody could spend a day in my inbox because of me putting the messages out there that I have talking about suicide, talking about depression and various issues, and just mental health in general, it would frighten most people because of the stuff I get. And that's why I always encourage people. I say, don't send me the message. Don't send Brad the message. You got to talk to God. You got to talk to your counselor. You got to talk to your doctor. We're not the people licensed to help you do that. And what works for me ain't going to work for you, most likely. But maybe you're not dealing with anything. It's just circumstantial in the way that it was with Hayden, which is such a sad deal, because I think, Brad, we all want to be able to just pinpoint and say, this is what went wrong. But that's impossible, because you can't do that with the human mind. You can't do that. Nobody knows exactly in that moment what Hayden was going through. And that's what makes it hard, because we can't wrap that up and put a bow on it.
And I'll tell you, Chad, the weird part about it was my dad was over there. It was a beautiful sunny day. We'd spent hours with Hayden repairing my water well. Out in Alito, we don't have water system, so my well went down. We repaired it, and he went up to his room. My dad left. My wife left with our oldest daughter to go pick up a friend. I went and took a call, and man, it was right above me in my office, and my 8-year-old daughter came down and told me he had hung himself.
Oh my God!
I ran upstairs, and I don't know if I missed him by 5 minutes or a minute, but it was close, man. And life is precious, dude. And what I saw, what I went through, I don't want anybody, man. My worst enemy, I don't wish that on somebody, to see their child in the way I saw them, and I can't do anything but, and my wife, everybody mourns and grieves in different ways, and she's mourning in a different way. But for me, I gotta go save some people as fast as possible. And I think if there's any silver lining in this, is maybe Hayden wasn't my kid. Maybe he was God's kid and was here on a mission, and now I'm part of his army. And I've been telling people, when his eyes close, my eyes open.
Yeah.
And I think I can go save some people. We're gonna make a documentary. There's already talk about a movie. I know that seems fast, but I'm a CEO kind of guy. I see a problem, go fix a problem, and I'm trying not to sprint too fast. But man, they're not talking about it on TV at all. They're estimating 75,000 people are going to die in the near term from suicide, drug overdose, and murders and things like that as a function of the pandemic. That doesn't even count the heart attacks that aren't being checked on, the cancer patients that aren't getting screened. I mean, I don't want to get too political, but my worry is we've taken one group's suffering and just applied it to a different group.
Right.
And so there's a lot of conversations that need to be had, and a lot of things we got to fix before this next one hits. And hopefully it is a century-long thing, but maybe it's an every decade thing. I don't know.
Well, Brad, our prayers are with you. If I were with you, and I will be soon, I would violate the 6-foot distance thing, and I'd hug your neck whether you wanted it or not. God bless you, man. And there's no words. There really aren't. Let's make a difference together. I'm telling you, I'm in Haydens Corner. We're going to flash up the website here. I want people to support what's going on, and whatever platform we've got, it's yours. So I want to be a part of this, because it's such a vulnerable, like I said, and powerful testimony, and you're still going through it. So God bless you, man. Thanks for coming on the show, buddy.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks,
Hey, folks, technology's improved on just about everything: phones, cars, shopping, Mattresses, unfortunately, they've pretty much been the same since the invention of sleep. You deserve better. I deserved better. I made a change with my mattress, and finally, with the mattress I got, it's the evolution of mattresses. It's called Purple. The secret to Purple is the Purple Grid. It's a patented comfort technology that instantly adapts to your body's natural shape and sleep style. The purpose is that it's for everybody to get comfortable. That's the beauty of the Purple mattress. No matter how you sleep, Purple's designed with over 2,800 open air channels, natural temperature neutral gel. You're not going to sleep too hot. You're not going to sleep too cold. It's going to be firm where you need it. It's going to be soft in the places that you want it. Please, I want you to go today, share your experience. If you are a Purple mattress user and you got that product, get over there. Tell them what you're most impressed by. Leave them a great review. You can count on resting easy night after night, year after year, because the ultra-durable Purple Grid won't sink or lose shape, and I can testify to that with my big old butt. Hey, Purple is so confident in what they do that every Purple mattress comes with free shipping and returns and a risk-free 100-night trial. Experience the next evolution in sleep. Go to purple.com/watchchad. Use promo code WatchChad. For a limited time, you're going to get $150 off of a Purple mattress when you order $1,500 or more. Purple.com/WatchChad. Promo code WatchChad for $150 off any mattress order of $1,500 or more. Terms apply. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back, everybody, on this week's book report. We're excited to welcome host of Fox and Friends and the Brian Kilmeade Show, Brian Kilmeade himself. Brian, thanks for hanging out with us for a few minutes, man. Congratulations on the new release of the paperback.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm jealous of your studio and your look.
What we've started calling ourselves around here at Blaze Studios is we are the expendable essentials. Like, they'll still let us come in because they don't care if something happens to us, right? So we're one of the few that still comes into the studio. You guys have kind of been bouncing around. How's that been going for you guys there in New York trying to get the shows done?
No complaints. You just said, you know what it's like. It's hard. You can't really interrupt each other because we're on different delays. So if someone says something brilliant or bad, you kind of can't. You just got to wait because they're a second ahead or a second behind. You say it, and they'll start talking, and then they'll stop, and then you go, and we've all seen that. So it's taken away a lot of the spontaneity of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But we're better than 99.9% of the population, so I'll never complain. But the quality of the show, I think, suffers because you can't get any of that real dynamic, the back and forth that we used to have on the couch.
Well, watching you guys and listening to you as well every morning, you're doing a great job with it in spite of the circumstances. I tell you, people don't realize when you're having a conversation, it's not like a sitcom where somebody finishes talking and the next person starts talking. You talk over each other. That's how people have conversations. So this has been a challenge for everybody. But how are you guys doing health-wise and sanity-wise in New York right now?
Well, a couple of things. None of us are sane, so it works to our advantage. So we have a low standard. Health-wise, I failed the immunity test, so I have not had it yet. Two people in my family were positive for it. Don't remember their names. I'm more into myself. But that I got tested. I was tested negative. Fox has not really been overrun with it. They've been unbelievably cautious and I think judicious in how we did it. They just immediately fanned out, set up home studios or local studios, and wanted to continue. First, they wanted to set an example and separate us within the studio. Then they said, you know what? I don't think we should risk it. Just separate. So I think there's only a few people coming into the studio right now, but I think that's got to change soon. Yeah. And then there's going to be no hair and makeup and things like that. But everything's changed. I mean, how many people are investing in ad dollars now?
Mm.
How many people have a product that needs publicity? Even if you have great ratings, do you have a product that needs the platform?
Yeah.
That affects the salespeople. Except if you're in Fox Sports, what are you doing? Nothing. What if you're in ESPN? You're not doing anything.
Yeah.
For another month. And guess what? Your salary's still getting paid.
Yeah.
And there's still you paid money for leagues that's not airing. You know, NASCAR's coming up, but there's going to be no fans. So it is just a challenge after a challenge after a challenge. It's amazing how everything's linked.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the book here in just a second. I'm really excited about this. But let me just ask you first of all, because you raise a good question. People keep throwing around terms like new normal. Does that strike you as weird, odd? Is it? I find it I don't like it. This whole new normal concept.
That's caving. My thing is, we understand the virus. We all went to school on it. We understand they don't know everything about it, and do not sit us at home anymore.
Yeah.
I understand the discipline's out. We understand the risks. We understand who's mostly at risk. Protect the most vulnerable. Absolutely. Underlying conditions will take care of it. You shouldn't be penalized. But I want in. I want to do the things that are necessary to get back in that building, to get tested on a regular basis, make sure no one's susceptible. That doesn't have to be. I want to go to a restaurant. If it's a third full, fine. And if you you own a restaurant, I think you should have a chance to save your livelihood. I don't think you should watch it die on the vine and wither. I think enough. These governors are being punitive in many cases by now.
Yeah.
I'm looking at what they're doing. They're going, oh, my state's not ready. No. Maybe one portion of your state's not ready, but the rest might be. Get out of your state house, drive around to your main streets, see what these people need. You'll be surprised how conscientious they are about their business, their sports store, their bait and tackle shop, their dealership. They want people coming back feeling safe. There's going to be a self-free market way of regulating. And I think we should have the shot to survive right now instead of sitting on the sideline.
I see these pictures of Manhattan, and it's really crazy. I remember one of the times when I was in the city a couple of years ago, my wife and I were walking down the street. We looked across. We were just going downhill from Avenue of the Americas there, and I saw you. You were bundled up in your overcoat there, and you were fighting the wind and the crowds and moving through. And then you see that, here's the hustle and bustle over there, and now it's just empty streets. It's really kind of eerie to see that. For me, from pictures and video of this thing, it's a crazy deal.
Yeah, I went in last Monday at 3:00, and then I went in last Thursday at around 1:00. And I will not get in a car in Manhattan and try to get to Long Island after 1:00, 1:30.
Right.
Because you just sit in traffic. It's a 45-minute ride that takes 2.5 hours. So I'm always on mass transportation. And to get around the city, nobody has a car. I'm sure you're not aware of that because the parking so much, and you're better off on subways. So to go in there at 3:00, 1:00, and see no traffic at all is stunning. And to think with every day there's no traffic, as annoying as it is, that means there's no deliveries, there's food purchases, there's no selling, there's nobody in a gym, there's nobody in a building, there are people bailing on their rents because they don't want to live there anymore. I look around and I feel the pain of the emptiness.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel the solaceness of the moment.
Yeah.
And I just wonder how much is preventable.
Yeah. Well, these are historical days, and you're a historian. That time I was up there, I just picked up the hard copy of the Andrew Jackson Miracle of New Orleans. You signed it for me, and one of the things you said was keep history alive. And, this is a historic moment we're living in. This is one of those things that historians are going to look back on and say this was a time in America where nothing else was like it. We'll see how that comes out. But the book, it's been out for a little while. The softback, the paperback comes out tomorrow. Sam Houston and the Alamo Avengers. I see you're wearing your American flag, Texas flag pin there. God bless you, man. That's the beauty of Texas. We're already social distance because we've got such a big state here.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's just so funny, too, is that, people go, well, what makes Texas Texas? Well, you just saw the salon owner.
Yeah.
And the salon owner goes, wait a second. I'm into following the rules, but when the rules, when it's me, my existence, the people that work for me, I'm fighting. Yeah. And that's really what I found out with this story for the longest time as a New Yorker who lived in LA for a while. Everyone has their own history. Virginia has their own history. Obviously, Boston has theirs. But they were never a country.
Mm-hmm.
Texas was a country. So I just thought, well, that's their story. Then when I realized Americans fought it to the degree they did, when I realized Americans went there and organized it to the degree it was, when I realized it was actually in the Louisiana Purchase, guys like Thomas Jefferson, Andrew Jackson were swearing a stack of Bibles, and Sam Houston was it. And it was kind of traded off for Florida by the Spanish, who ends up losing control of it anywhere. When I realized they were fighting for liberty, which 60 years earlier we were fighting against another mighty power against, I realized people can resonate with this story. And I also know America wouldn't be the same place without Texas. And it almost didn't happen. And to see this guy evolve, Sam Houston, who drank too much, who showed lack of discipline, kind of a lazy kid who wouldn't go to school, and ended up having this living with the Cherokee Indians, being first American Indian advocate, and then fighting heroically, fearlessly. And he should have died in the War of 1812, where I opened. And then to watch him grow with the tutelage of another famous American named Andrew Jackson. And then to see him again in America's history, the perfect man at the perfect time is in the perfect place. From Eisenhower to Washington, we see it over and over again. And that's who Sam Houston was. At 30, he wouldn't have been the right guy. At 20, he wouldn't have been the right guy. But after his life experience as governor of Tennessee, as a military officer, and as a warfighter, he was the guy with a reputation to get people's attention. He was probably the only guy that could have pulled off what he did.
Yeah, being in Texas now 20 years, I'm a transplant. I'm what would have been a Texian, right? I've been here 20 years. I love this state. I love this place. It is the center of the universe to me. I've immersed myself in the culture and the history of it. And so many times people will tell you, they say, we'd rather be Texans than Americans, right? And then you have folks who say, well, unless you were born here, you're not truly a Texan. But so much of the Texas history was built on men who were not from Texas originally. Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, these places. And that's the story you're telling.
And they chose to go.
Yeah.
And they said America was not new enough. It was not open enough. It was too cliquey, too expensive, or running from the law, running from a bad marriage, or I lost everything. Some of the smartest people in the world were just going bankrupt. Washington, Jefferson, Madison, they all died with no money.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson ended up with money in the end. He started with nothing. And Sam Houston, the same thing. Got it all, lost it all. Got it all, lost it all. And a lot of these men and women would go, you know what? We got to go. Where do you go? Got to go to Texas. Go out west to go to Texas. And go there. And again, the American ingenuity took an area that could not develop under anybody else. But Americans found a way, depending on each other, holding up their end of the bargain. And it was like a American all-star. They were fiercely independent. There were no infrastructure or promises, no Social Security or 401k. They went down there with the hope and promise of something better, no guarantees.
Yeah.
Which brings me to today. No guarantees that the coronavirus is not going to hit us. No, there's a very small chance it'll kill us. But staying home and not fighting will destroy us.
Yeah.
And all Texans wanted was an opportunity, and all Americans want now, for the most part, I hope, is that chance to be successful again, because the world cannot survive if we dip down. What I added at the end, what I think you might appreciate, I start with the War of 1812, bring it to the Texas Revolution, but end with the Civil War, which you might know that Sam Houston was governor and wanted no part of it. He knew it was hundreds of thousands would die and Confederacy would lose. And he said, stay out. They outvoted him. So he goes, I quit. And he left. Lincoln tried to bring him back in. And that's what I added to the epilogue, which you don't know about, which is only in the paperback.
Yeah. Well, folks need to get the paperback. And I'll tell you, if you love history and you love storytelling, Brian Kilmeade is the best there is at it. And I find myself reading your books, Brian, basically in 2 sittings. I mean, they're really good. But I want to know, what's your interpretation? If you look at that history, and now if you come out and say, hey, America needs to get back to work, people need to get back to these opportunities they have, and people come out and they say on social media and various places, you just want people to die. You're not willing to distance. You just want people to die. What happened to that bravado, that courage, that ability to go out and say, I'm willing to take a stand for what's right in spite of the cost?
I have some theories. I have not been out usually as much as I have. I go to all these cities. I do it on the weekends, and I could really get an idea what the American people think because I see so many people. But now I'm not really seeing people, but I'll give you an idea. I don't think it's hard to appreciate something you've always had.
Mm-hmm.
You've always had protections. You've always had an infrastructure. You've always had a family for the most part, or some type of societal net. And I'm not saying, a lot of countries have more than us, and a lot of people complain about that. But if you had to fight for freedom, you appreciate it more. If you know you lost, you have nowhere to live, you're going to fight to the death. Andrew Jackson talks about fighting. He was going to fight the British right up the Mississippi because we had nowhere else to go. So in Texas, they're like, okay, it's getting kind of bad. I'm going to go to Texas. I'm going to, I don't like in the Northeast. I'm going to go out west, Midwest. But after 100, 200 plus years, we are the number one economic and military superpower in the world. How can we not get soft? First generation multimillionaires are going to raise kids in luxury. It's not the kids' fault. They don't know what it was like living in a one-room apartment that you grew up in with your parents. So I think we got to rediscover some toughness. And I think the president, it's politically dangerous, has to almost say that. And of course, they're going to come back and say 70,000 are dead. How dare you? Well, it's 99.6% chance you're going to survive. Here is the downside. Economic ruin is going to bring physical and mental destruction to the family. We see the alcohol, the drug abuse, the domestic abuse going through the roof. And the world is not a safe place without a strong America. And if we could ask a bunch of guys and women to make $35,000 a year and take out Afghanistan and Iraq and the Al Qaeda presence in North Africa and bin Laden in Pakistan, can we go out there and just make our deli successful? Can we get Dick's Sporting Goods? Can I get my job at Dick's Sporting Goods as a manager? And can I get that back? Can I learn to put arrows on the Ford and tell us everywhere to walk like we can at the pharmacy and the food store? I'm not asking you to go invade another country. I'm asking you to reclaim your livelihoods and make it so great that people want to come and see you. And if you want to call me the enemy of the people, I just think I want to support the people that want to support their families.
There it is. Brian Kilmeade, the host of Fox and Friends, and also the Brian Kilmeade Show. You can get it where podcasts are offered. You can also get it on SiriusXM. Sam Houston and the Alamo Avengers. That's the book. I want people to go get it. Get the paperback. It's got things that the hardback doesn't have. So I want to encourage you to go get it. Brian, thanks for hanging out with us today, man.
Thanks. Great job.
Stay safe. Take care.
All right.
God bless.
That's right. You too.
Sam Houston and the Alamo Avengers. Don't just get that book. Get all of Brian Kilmeade's books. If you are a fan of history and you really want it from a true historical narrative storytelling perspective that brings these people to life, get the books. Thanks to him for coming on the show today. And I want to say, we appreciate you guys. There are those of you who are out there who support us every single night. You come to us, and you are truly a part of what we do. This craziness that's gone on in our world, it's affected everybody in a different way. Some of us have gone through it, and it's made us a little more depressed. In some ways, it's drawn us closer together. I don't know what you're dealing with, but I do know, like Brad said, get the help that you need if you're truly dealing with it. Don't allow something temporary to affect you permanently. The idea of suicide is a reality. It's more than just an idea. It's not a theory. Call the suicide hotline. Talk to someone who can truly help you. Know that we're praying for you. Know that we are here in terms of the support that we bring you every day on the show. And we hope we encourage you and give you a reason to smile and to laugh. And just know that we love you guys. We really do. And we appreciate the love that you give us. We don't want to see anybody lost to this thing in any way, shape, or form. Go to watchchad.com. Hopefully one day we'll be able to get back out on the road and come see you. And also go to blazetv.com/Chad. You can get $30 off right now. We love y'all. God bless. Talk to you soon. Bye.